Guys, welcome back to the channel again. Today I'm working on refreshing the rear end again. My most popular video, actually, I did the rear suspension on this car. When I first bought it, everything was still the stock stuff. So I pulled all the stock suspension out from underneath of it and did upper and lower control arms and lowering springs and SR Performance shocks. Since then, I've done the Coyote and done Koni Sport adjustables up front, and the ride is way better in the front. So I went ahead and decided I wanted to get Koni Sport adjustables for the rear. Pro tip, buy them open box with missing hardware for 1/3 of the price, and then call Koni USA and they'll send you the hardware for free. So I got Koni Sport adjustable front and rear, all four corners, for under $500, and the set, if you buy it retail, is like $800. So I think I came out pretty good. I got the front struts for $110 a piece, and then the rears, one of them was $50 and the other one was full price because they only had one open box at the time. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing a few things actually. So we're doing the shocks. You see I have a Wix regulator here. I got an Evil Energy C5 filter and regulator on the car now, and it's showing 70 psi, and it needs to be at 55. It shows 70, and then when I go to wide open throttle for more than 5 seconds, it dips down below 55. So I don't like that. So I bought me a Wix filter, and I didn't need to buy new AN fittings, but they were only like a couple dollars, so I just went ahead and bought new AN fittings too. That way I can just unscrew the old one and then screw this one in. On top of that, I'm going to be servicing the diff. So the car, I feels like it's geared, because first gear I can literally pull out in second gear, and the Gen 2 that I swapped geared nothing like this car. So I think I have like 410s or something. But since I was going to do the fluid change, I figured I might as well get a nice diff cover with and it's got the bearing retainers on it, the bearing cap retainers. And it looks nicer, so I'm gonna be throwing that on there instead of the original one. The original one doesn't even have a drain and fill plugs on it. You gotta fill it from the back of the diff. So gonna get all that taken care of, and then I'll be ready to get this thing tuned. That's why I've been waiting on the tune, because I don't know what rear gear I have. I thought it was stock, but after driving the car and doing some pulls, I really don't think it's the stock 331 or 327 gear. I think it feels like it's like at least a 373, possibly a 410. But the tag on it says 327, so I guess we'll find out soon enough. So I already got the carpet pulled out of the trunk so that I can access the shock spots on both sides. I had to unfortunately unmount the battery. So yeah, and then I met a guy out running around. He had his Gen 3 California Special. And we went street racing last night. That was pretty fun. He raced BMW all-wheel drive, and it was a really good race. But he told me he'd help me get these subframe connectors on, because he's going to be throwing a blower on his car soon, and I told him I'd help him do that. So meeting new people around here, which is good, because a lot of the work that I do, it's a lot easier with an extra set of hands. So yeah, I've got the car up in the air already on all fours. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'll show y'all everything as we go. All right, guys, so I'm pulling the diff off now. I got everything broken loose. The bolts are 1/2 inch. Like I said, my diff cover doesn't have a fill plug like most do. The fill plug's actually back behind this, like right in here. So I'm gonna get this thing pulled off and we'll see together what kind of gears are in this thing. All right, so I removed all of the bolts except for the one in the very top, and I backed it out about 1/3 of the way. They're all 1/2 inch size bolts. Now I'm going to attempt to pry on the cover so we can drain all the fluid out. And then I think now, since I'm under here, I'm gonna go ahead and paint my axle tubes with POR 15. I still have some left over from where we did the surgery on the front end. So, yeah, coming right along. All right, she's draining. Fluid looks okay, I guess. I've never serviced a diff, so I'm sure there'll be some metal flake in there from the 30 years of those gears turning and probably never been serviced. So yeah, smells really good. Oh. We'll get all this drained out of here and then we'll see what kind of gears in this bad boy. So my suspicions were correct. I thought for sure this thing was geared, and my guess was, by the feel of it, that they were 373s, and that's what they are. I could tell by how torquey it felt in first and second compared to the Gen 2 swap we did. The Gen 2 swap will do like 90 miles an hour in second gear, and mine, the gears feel completely normal, so I'm happy about that. I'm not going to have to swap the gears out, and these look like they're in good shape. They might have used a little bit too much RTV, but that's okay. I'm gonna clean it out real good, and then we'll get this thing filled up with some fresh fluid and get the new cover put on it. All right, guys, big difference. As you can tell, I got everything cleaned up. I just used brake cleaner and some like this Q-tip kit that I have that has all different length Q-tips. I also used a engine cleaning brush to clean out all of the holes to get all the RTV out. And then I just used like a plastic pry bar to scrape all the RTV off of the edges, and then I went back behind that and cleaned it up with a wire wheel to get it nice and clean, because I want a clean mating surface. Let me turn off my compressor. I just realized that thing's still running. But yeah, it's ready to receive the new diff cover. I ran out the road and picked up a couple things for the install. I needed some Teflon thread sealant for the drain and fill and all the bolts that go in, and then I also needed some gear oil, gasket maker, and then the diff cover. It's not a name brand, but it had good reviews, and it's nice and heavy. It's got a good mating surface on it, and it had the bearing cap, bearing retaining cap stops in it. So it was only like 50 bucks, and it came with this gasket, which I'm not sure if it's paper. It feels like it's, yeah, it feels like a rubber gasket. It came with new hardware with lock washers, it looks like, and then there's also some regular washers. So I got the bearing caps threaded out so that I can install this thing up on here, but I can't wait to see how this thing looks. When I ordered mine, it had this one little defect, and I didn't feel like returning it. Nobody's gonna see this thing anyway, so yeah, everything's clean, ready to go. We'll get that thrown up on there, and then we'll move along to swapping out the fuel filter and regulator. And then, since we're back here, we'll go ahead and pull the shocks out, get the Konis in, and then the rear end will be good to go. And I'll be able to get this thing tuned. So I'm excited about that. And I'm most excited that I have 373 gears. I was planning to put 373s in it if it didn't have it, but I could tell, you know, it was torquey, so couldn't be happier about that. So I'm gonna continue throwing this thing together. Once I get the gasket up on there, I'll probably show you again how I'm putting the gasket on, and the torque sequence for the bolts. The bolts around the edges are 25 foot-pounds, and then the bearing retainers are 5 foot-pounds. So, and there's a crisscross pattern you got to do. So, I'll walk you through that, and then we'll move on to the rest of it. Yeah, so plans changed. The diff cover, the bolts for it are the incorrect thread, and you can't use the stock bolts on this diff cover because there's like, it's Allen head bolts that like go down into the diff cover. The bolts don't sit flush on the edge, they go down into it, and the bolts that are on the 8.8 sit flush. So I don't I don't know why they would sell it like that, advertising a Ford 8.8 diff cover with all the hardware and shit. So I already issued a return on that. I gotta drop it off and ship it back. It's fucking so dumb. So what I did was I took my diff cover I have now, and I just cleaned it up real good with a wire wheel to get like in the little crevices, and then for most of it I got with an abrasive wheel. These things, the polycarbide abrasives wheels, they like rip paint and rust and stuff off of metal surfaces. I used that a good bit when I fixed my strut towers, but I just wanted to show you the diff cover. It's like, it pops now. Now that it's cleaned up, I kind of want a clear coat over that, you know, because it just looks good like that. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw the fuel filter and regulator up in it, and then do the shocks, and then by that time the RTV should be dry on the diff cover, so I can fill it up with fluid. And you know something crazy, they left the regular tag on it, and it has 327 stamped on it. You can see at the bottom there, it has 373 that they stamped in a different font, and it like doesn't look as crisp, and it was covered with dirt. So I'd never seen it. So after I wire wheeled it, I seen that 373 pop up. I was like, what the hell? So I probably didn't even need to do this, but give me peace of mind that I changed the fluid, because I've changed everything else on this thing. This is the only thing I haven't popped open is the diff. I think eventually I might have to replace these damn upper axle bushings. They look good though for being 30 years old. But I think I'm gonna POR the axle tubes, that way they look nice and clean. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this daggone fuel filter / regulator so that my fuel pressure gets back to normal. So I got the regulator / filter swapped out. Like I said, I bought new fittings so that I could just unscrew it, screw the new one in. Now I'm gonna throw these Koni shocks in here and pull these SR Performance ones out here. They literally haven't even hardly gotten dirty yet because I've only drove this car in the rain once and it was on accident. So it stayed pretty clean. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna loosen the lower shock bolt and go ahead and pull the nut off of it, and then I'll come up top and we'll, for the SR Performance ones, I just clamp a pair of vice grips on the tip there. There's a nipple at the top of it, and then I use a ratchet wrench to just back that off. And funny thing, the Koni, when they sent me the hardware, I took a peek at this paperwork, and I did not know this, but I always thought that when you put the shocks on, you always like wanted the bushings to smash down a little bit. The paperwork that I seen in here, yeah, here it is. Look, it says don't smash the bushings. It says leave them to where it's just snug. You don't tighten it down like that. I was always taught to tighten it down like that, so I guess it's not like the sway bars. So yeah, I'm gonna put these on this way, and maybe that'll cure some of the problems I felt with the SRs. I mean, the SRs were fine, I guess, but I just felt like it should be a little bit smoother, and I want the adjustability. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. Yeah, so the lighting sucks, but actually it's not that bad when I get my camera light on. I just wanted to show you my technique for removing the SR shocks. There's a nipple at the top of them, so I just fish the ratchet wrench down on it and then lock the vice grips on it, and then you can just zip this thing right off. The impact don't really get it done because the shock shaft just wants to spin on you. You can really only get like close to half a turn at a time. So apparently that's how the bushings are supposed to be. So that's how we'll put the Konis in. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna read the paperwork on adjustment and see. So doesn't really make sense. So I guess that makes it stiffer. Actually, where's this one? Here it says which way is firm. Yeah, so turning it counterclockwise makes it more firm. I wonder what my shocks are showing. Let's see. I guess they were soft. So that's all the way firm. These lowering springs that I got are really stiff, so I'm gonna turn them both all the way firm and then back them off like one turn and see how that does. Get them a little bit stiffer. All the way soft, it was like still kind of banging around. But yeah, I got the lower shock bolt done. So you need a 15mm socket and an 18mm wrench. And you put the wrench on the nut and the socket on the bolt and just zip it off. And then you're gonna wanna jack it up just a little bit. Just put like, you know, a little bit of pressure on it, not a lot. Just lift the axle up maybe like an inch, and then you'll notice that the bolt, it like gets loose, and you can move it back and forth, and that's when you know you're ready to swap it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this shock, swap it out, and then we'll adjust them a little bit. So I just wanted to show you how nice these were before I put them on. They're really clean. And then they also have this bump stop with them so that it'll keep you from bottoming out. And then of course there's the sleeve. And once you lock the sleeve on, you can't really see the bump stop anymore. But it keeps dirt out of there, along with this little cap here. Keeps any dirt from getting down inside the tube there. Maybe that's why it was cheaper, because the paint's off a little bit. But yeah, we'll put this thing together and then we'll put it up in there. Yeah, so I got the shock installed, put the bolt in the bottom, gave it a few ugga-duggas, and then came up here up top and tightened it down. When I lowered the shock, it made that bushing squish, so I'm gonna loosen that a little bit to where it's not squished like the Koni paperwork says. And then I'm gonna rinse and repeat over here. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to do to the rear end. I got the diff cover on, not the diff cover I wanted, but got it on. And I'm about to put the fluid in it because that's been in there curing for a couple hours. And then I got the new fuel pressure regulator up in there, Wix brand, and I got the Koni shock in there. So we're good to go. Both Konis are in place. The new regulator's in. And we got the diff fluid drained and the cover put back on. And I figured since it was shiny, this anodized coating would be great for it. I had a half a can left from where I did the timing cover. It's made to go directly over bare metal or something metallic. So I think it turned out pretty good. Even though I didn't get to use the diff cover I wanted, this I'm still really happy with. I'll have the car up in the air. I wasn't really happy with the toe angle, how it was sitting. So I had it set all the way in, and the tires, when I was going down the road, they're sitting like, the top of the tire was like tilted in, and it was making my bump steer so bad. Like I was like floating all over the road. But when I had it up here, all the way on this side, it was way too tight. So I put it right in the middle on both sides, and I put the shocks, or I adjusted the struts to right in the middle. So they're right in the middle of stiff and soft. I think I still need to adjust the Konis in the rear. I'm gonna adjust them the same way and see how it rides. But yeah, I got everything finished up. So it's looking like I'm ready to get it tuned. I'm so excited that this thing already has 373s in it, because that's the gear I was planning on putting in it anyways. So I'm ready to get it tuned now. See how she puts down the power. I'm hoping with long tubes and a 373, I should be pretty mean on the street. I've just learned that I've been putting too much air pressure in my tires. I've been running like 35, and it says you should run around 30 on the street from what I've seen. So I'm gonna change that up. Let a little bit of air out of the rear tires. I might get a thicker tire for this Cobra wheel too. I was looking at some 15-inch wheels, but I think I might just get a 17-inch drag radial for the rear. It'll really fill it out. And then we'll be good to go. This car's ready for the dyno. I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to fill it up with diff fluid, just because I don't really, well, there's some rubber on there. Where I figured I'd let the RTV cure for 24 hours. It says it's supposed to cure for 24 hours, and plus that gear oil in there, everything in there I had to wipe down because it had like a black film on it, and I think that was from where they put RTV on it and then filled it with fluid too quick, and a little bit of the RTV mixed in the fluid, so it just like coated everything in there. So I cleaned it really well, and it's probably, you know, sometime tomorrow evening I'll throw the diff fluid in it and then take it for a spin, see how it does, and then go from there. But yeah, I'm got this rear suspension overhauled again, ready for all this new power it's going to put down. Stay tuned for the next video. Peace.